with our Toast and Wolf.
In the top right of Merry-Go-Round, our Zerg player down one game.
G-Neo Green Wings True. Bangtesu.
Have you taken any flights on Jin-Air yet?
I think I went to Hong Kong on Jin-Air once.
Okay.
It was good if I remember correctly.
Good. Okay, good.
His opponent down here is 6 o'clock on this 3-player map. Up a game in the series.
I am Trap. Cho Sung-ho.
What about you?
I don't think I've flown anywhere on Jin-Air yet.
I took Jeju Air once, too. It was pretty good.
I'm not sure if I took Jeju Air either.
It was a pretty small plane. I took it to... I think I also took that to Hong Kong. I've been to Hong Kong a lot of times, so...
Yeah, yeah.
Probably more than anywhere else.
Love that city so
great.
much. I only went one time for the Hong Kong esports event, but just completely fell in love with the city in like the first 5 minutes leaving the airport. I'm like, this is the most beautiful thing ever.
Yeah, I would think I've been there...
And it was a lot of fun.
I think I've been there 5 or 6 times now.
Wow, that's awesome.
And I want to go again soon.
Yeah, yeah. I'll never say no to a trip to Hong Kong.
Yeah, definitely not. A lot of fans here today at the studio supporting these players. And
it's like a gateway opener here from Trap.
Yeah, I guess so. See a little bit of stats down here, a little bit more experience for True on this map overall. Not a ton though for anybody just yet.
Yeah.
It's a new WCS map.
And so far, oh my God, I didn't think he was going to get that.
Wow.
Whoa, this is a man who blocks a lot of hatcheries with pylons. For him to know that that was going to work, whoa.
That's pretty
well, I
crazy.
guess you tried anyways, because if it doesn't work, then like it just doesn't build. But like, anyways, I'm still impressed.
That was pretty nuts.
I really thought that wouldn't be quick enough.
He's actually going to try to block this one too.
What a fool I was. All right.
Wow, he's going to commit to it.
Very nice double block. So I guess he just expands from here, right?
Yeah.
Probably cancels that second pylon since he does have his probe in the vicinity. Slowed that down quite a bit. Did force True into a gas and pool here.
And let's see how he decides to follow.
Now, I did ask you this like during Code A, but now that you've seen like a lot more games on this map since then, what are your thoughts about the map now? Just overall, yes or no, you like it or not?
I haven't really decided yet. It's kind of a funny map because the 4th base is up on that little high ground thing all of the time. If you end up going that way.
Yeah.
I also think that for a Protoss player, taking a 4th base is kind of funny because you have to defend, like expand towards a different direction. Oftentimes, like in this case for Trap, if he takes a 3rd to the right side, then he can take the 4th on the high ground, but that's really close to the Zerg. Depending on how the game is playing, that might be a good thing. But if he wants to take the 4th to the left, then those 2 bases are really far from each other. And if he takes the 3rd base to the left side here, obviously it's far away from the Zerg, so it's a little bit harder to attack. But then if he wants to take a 4th base, then that's kind of, you know, a bit far away from his 3rd, and it means that your walls don't really work together, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
So I feel like it gets to be a bit funny in this matchup. In Terran versus Protoss on this map, it seems like it's kind of hard for Terran to get good engagements because it's always very wide open on the map. So he ends up, you know, the Terran player ends up fighting charged Zealots and Archons on Protoss ground where the Zealots can all just run in and get crazy surface area.
I personally find it really hard for Protoss in both matchups.
Yeah.
That's just me. Well, we have a quick Phoenix opening here after Gateway Expand for Trap. I like the choice. May as well open up for Phoenixes. But notice no additional gases yet, so it's not like he's rushing into any build like we saw last time. Just opening for the Phoenixes do a bit of harassment. Getting the gases a little bit later here at the natural.
Yeah, and I think this time he's going to take a 3rd with it.
Yeah, I would say for certain he's going to take a 3rd here. Doesn't really have anything lined up for any sort of pressure. The one thing that is interesting is that he's only getting a 3rd gas. Very often you get both your gases at the same time. Okay, so he is going to get a 4th gas. Just a little bit more delayed.
A little bit more minerals out of this.
Yeah.
Maybe so he can get his 3rd base, you know, that 3rd Nexus up a little bit faster.
Yeah, perhaps. He just continues on these Phoenixes.
a lot of queens out of True in both of these games. It's up to 6 here, and he's always got them ready to defend the Phoenixes. This time actually not making spores yet.
Probably going to be pushing this creep pretty heavily this game. If you do get creep, especially onto the high ground areas, that's really going to help you out as Zerg. Any attacks Protoss does are probably going to want to come down a hill.
Do you think we'll see Swarm Hosts on this map? Seen it before in Pro League.
Yeah, personally in the games that I play on ladder, people end up going Swarm Host late game here a lot. I think it's not quite as good as for mutas because there's so little flying room behind the mains and stuff, but I mean, we could see it. I don't really put True on doing that, but yeah, I mean, I could definitely see other Zergs doing it.
Question is, when are we going to start seeing True make Banelings in this matchup?
I do like it when we see Banes in ZVP.
There was one player, one European player, who would do it every time in this matchup and make it work, like to a certain extent. Sometimes even against Koreans at WCG. Lowly, he was the one.
Oh, of course, good old Lowly.
Always Banelings on the ZVP.
He liked Ultra Queen and Fester quite a bit as well, and Banelings fit in quite well with that.
Yeah, just
with that unit set.
Extra DPS that splash.
Yeah, when you smash the force fields, those Banelings can get right in there.
This is a lot of Phoenixes, man. Yeah, you and I are both coming to this conclusion. Like, that's a lot of Phoenixes.
That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Phoenixes. That is a lot of Phoenixes. Normally, the only time you see this many Phoenixes, unless it's like a later game Sky Toss type of scenario, is when you've done some significant damage with your early game harassment and you try to snowball it. That's not the case this game. He's just got a lot of Phoenixes, and the thing is, a lot of Lings have been made in response, and Phoenixes are completely worthless against Zerglings. So I feel like this could make taking that third harder, but it looks like he's not even planning on taking the third until he has Colossus out. So
I want to know what's in that Warp Prism. What's in that?
2 units, so I would guess
I think a Sentry and a Zealot, I think, are in there.
All right.
We've seen Liquid Hero do builds like this all the time, where you just make a bunch of units in the base, and then you pick up all the queens and any roaches that come out to try to defend, and it can be quite good, but I mean, he needs to get a lot of zealots. The thing is, they haven't been seen yet, so the more he gets away with here in the base, the better it's going to be for him. Now, 14 roaches are started. That's exactly what he needs. Do you think he knows like something like this is coming? What? I don't think he knows. Now he knows
at all. I think he's getting ready for an attack because there's no expand yet.
All the queens just went down to the third base. They're in a completely wrong place here.
So this is super interesting because he's made so many Phoenixes. He's targeting down spore colonies right now so that he can actually get his Phoenixes in to mix things up.
That Colossus over there in a almost compromising spot, but does get that force field down. But this isn't doing a massive amount of damage at all.
See, I think that his plan here was just, okay, I walk in, I get rid of some anti-air, and then 7 Phoenixes come in and deal a lot of damage after the Zealots get rid of some of that. But, you know, True had 2 spores, he had some roaches pop out, and he had a bunch of queens that weren't too far away because it's a really great creep spread. So that falls flat on its face. Has to take quite a late third at 12 minutes, much later than many Protoss like to take.
Yeah.
Tough position he's in right now, I would say.
I completely agree.
He's down 40 supply, Wolf.
Yeah, I mean, he's down way in Harvesters. These Phoenixes are not getting anything done anytime soon with this many queens on the map. And this third base, I think, is going to be canceled. There's a lot of roaches here. It's not that far along.
Only 2 sentries. But you know what? He has Time Warp, so he might be able to head off these roaches. Okay, well, no, that's really bad that he loses one. He really couldn't lose a Colossus here.
I think he might end up losing both.
Yeah, if he had lost one, he could have kept both alive.
It looks like he's going to save this one. Two shots away from death here.
Okay, so he like kind of ends up holding this, but it didn't quite hold like he wanted. This is all starting to make a lot more sense, right? Because by spending all that money on Phoenixes and then using a mineral dump to do some harassment damage, you can't really attack him with Lings if you look at the way he was standing with his Colossus. The Colossus are going to counter Lings well, and then the Phoenixes can at least help somewhat against roaches.
Yeah.
I kind of see what he's doing, but just hasn't really worked.
Yeah, I mean, he picks up a few Lings with Phoenixes. Whenever I see that happen, something has gone horribly wrong.
We actually have quite a few Corruptors on the way. A lot of Lings out here going up to 2-2.
I think he's just going to hit a timing of some sort here with the Corruptors.
I think he's going to go into mutas after these Corruptors.
It's going into 15.
Yeah, it is so many corruptors. And, I mean, the only thing that would make sense is to follow up into mutas, unless you went, like, broods, but broods doesn't seem to make a lot of sense here.
Well, he's got Archons in this mix. Phoenix is still going to help tank, but losing that Colossus really hurts, right? I mean, without that, I'm not so sure if this is going to have a chance of working.
You know, I don't think it has any chance. With this many Corruptors, if he just kills the Colossus, these Lings are about to have 2-2 against just, I believe, just +1 Protoss units, right?
Yeah, but don't forget he has those Archons. Those could be game changers. Those are going to do so much damage to everything.
They are good, but he has 15 Roaches to help out with that, and he has Corruption to help out with that. And when you do, like, Corruption plus Zerglings with 2-2 hitting them, I think they're going to melt away reasonably quickly.
Well, he somehow misses the Warp Prism unless he's just happy to let him waste his minerals on that. Sometimes you do see that, but picking up some of these Roaches here.
Yeah, loses a few more units than he really wanted to. Definitely wanted those Roaches around to help deal damage to these Zealots. And here we go. He's going to take out these Colossus very quickly. So this really leaves just the Archons as the important part of this army.
But you know what? Those Immortals here too.
Those are really nice.
I don't know. Those Corruptors aren't getting a whole lot done here anymore. I mean, they did what they needed to do, but it begs the question: any of them? I think he just has too many Roaches, though.
Yeah, it seems that way. Especially if he ends up taking out a lot of these Archons. If he can make some more Lings, that can definitely help out. Lings with 2-2 going to do fantastically, obviously.
No, Archons falling left and right here. And
the Zealot Orphan's helping quite a bit. Trying to make another Archon on the battlefield, about the slowest reinforcement you can possibly get, aside from something from the Robo.
Yeah, I think this is just too much. 13 more Roaches on the way. He's about to have +1 for those as well.
It seems like this game, just Trap's plans didn't quite work out.
No.
And if you look at how many probes are at his third, this was third was kind of like a placekeeper in a lot of ways here.
Yeah.
Not really
just
a
letting us know we're in
the
third chapter of this game.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he's making an Immortal at home, but that's all he's making right now. He's just to add those assimilators, but I feel like Trap can actually just continue to attack, make sure that he kills all the expensive units over and over again. You know, it looks like he might just go into mutas possibly here too. I mean, he doesn't have a lot of freed up supply just yet to go into more than, you know, I don't know, I guess 7 or so here. He's going to just max with Lings instead for now. Gets an Devastation Pit. And I guess that's going to be the follow-up plan if this doesn't do critical damage here.
Yeah, you know, the thing is, I think that the Lings are just smart because they have such good upgrades. It's like, how are you really going to stop these Lings with 2-2?
Well, it doesn't look likely. Especially with all this corruption on the Immortals. They're just taking so much extra damage.
It's pretty ridiculous. And of course he's just going to back up here. You don't want to attack into that area, but that means he can hit that natural choke. And this is part of the reason why I find this map really hard, is that Zerg can dance back and forth like this between the two attack locations.
Yeah, I mean the base is pretty far in general. Now these Zealots get cleaned up here. After they did force a cancel on the base, but he doesn't need that base right now. It's not of the utmost importance. And he's actually going to kill the Stargate here. Kite back against these Zealots, get his reinforcements together, and I think you're right. I think he's just making Lings because he has the upgrades for him.
Yeah, and, well, he's true, and true like Zerglings, as we all know very well. He's kind of synonymous with the unit. Well, the Roach is going to continue to push up, taking out quite a few sentries here. That's really, really brutally painful. Can't be losing sentries. The Immortal's doing a very good job against these Roaches, though, so that's nice.
Yep, and it looks like, I mean, he's got a ton of Immortals. He saved the earlier ones. He microed them so well, so that's what keeps him alive here for a little bit longer, but eventually going to get worn down as these shields pop up. All those red Immortals from another die, and GG.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting. An interesting game. Trap came out with a plan that I wasn't really expecting, with the Phoenixes plus the Zealot Warpin. Into, of course, he had to take a late third. That's just kind of the way it was. But from True, I think it was maybe even more interesting. The fact that he focused heavily on those Ling upgrades, went into Mass Corruptor, realizing that, you know, the one game I always think back to when I think of 2-2 Lings is Lifers parting on Akalon Waste last year, and how he just surrounded this ridiculous Protoss Death Ball that had no real upgrades with 2-2 Lings and crushed it. And it's like, well, I mean, 2-2. Zerglings benefit more from upgrades than basically any other unit in the game. 20% additional attack on that first upgrade, that's insane. So
plus how quickly Zerglings attack. I mean, their
Yeah.
attack speed is quite high.
oh,
so.
it's crazy. It's madness how good those upgrades are. So he gets those out and focuses so heavily on Zerglings and mixes in enough roaches that he can take out Archons and still have some beef to his army. Really interesting play from him. I liked it.
I liked it too.
I don't think it was like the best play we've ever seen, but it was like, I love seeing stuff a little bit different like that. Different take on how to play the matchup.
It's interesting to me that Trap chose Frost.
What did you think he was going to go for?
You know, I actually was feeling like he might go Ultrazine.
Oh, okay.
And try to be like, all right, I can beat this guy in the late game.
Yeah.
I think I'm better than him there. Not in the mid game. That's our place where I'm looking a little bit shaky right now.
Yeah, yeah.
Frost has a similar, thought process behind it, I think.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk more about that in a minute. This game is going to be starting shortly.
It is indeed Game 3 between these two. The winner moves on to the winner's match to go up against Sue. The loser places Ragnarok.